Happy Halloween, Hunter Homestead.
There it is. Better than good happy hour.
Better than good happy hour, but you can only do that like a few times. Like
Sure.
how many times do you get to, drink in a bar, talk about sports, and have it run on Halloween?
Just every week when you're at Mike's Beer Bar.
Every week.
That's the beauty of it.
And that's where we are. Hunter Homestead, Matt Sunday, better known as Matt the Magic Dragon, I think. Matty the Magic Dragon.
That's good. I like it.
We're at Mike's Beer Bar for Sports on Tap like we are every week, right across the street from PNC Park. We come here, we drink beer, we talk about sports. Hunter doesn't dress up, even though, I sent you, 50 messages and said,
Yeah, all those messages.
Dress up, man.
Dude walks in a dinosaur onesie, and I'm like, is this a fashion statement? Oh, it's Halloween. So I did put my hat forward for you guys. This is my costume.
New look
a normal citizen wearing his hat the right way.
Here we go. The right way. Let's talk about the right way to celebrate in sports, because this has been like an ongoing debate. We go back to Game 6 now in the World Series, and Juan Soto decides, hey, I liked that move that I saw in the first inning when, I forget who it was now, trots around the bases holding the bat out. Soto hits a home run later in the game, holds his bat out, runs all the way trots to first base, holding the bat out, drops it. What do you make about it? Let them celebrate, let them play, let them have fun.
Let me start with a beer for this, because I got some thoughts on this. We're going to open with the Hop Farm American Gothic Goza, which, weird, a dark Goza. I've never seen a Goza this color in my life. It's usually a very light, summery. It's like a sweet and salty sour beer.
Well, you know what they say, sometimes that's the way it goes.
God, Maddie, come on, man.
Sometimes
awesome.
you gotta.
That was awesome.
You gotta go with it, man. Or Goza with it.
I'm gonna Goza with it. Yeah. Stop. That's how it goes.
Ooh, that's different. Not in like a bad different.
No, that's a Goza with roasty notes is very weird. I dig it. Oh,
you
man,
dig
I
it?
dig that.
All right, it sounds
I
like you dig the celebrations.
I dig
Tell
the
me about
celebrations too, so that's perfect. Dude, I love Derek Dietrich. I almost bought a Derek Dietrich jersey just because he was triggering Pittsburgh so hard with his little, and it made it better. DK's whole thing was that he's not even good. He's not even a good player. He's like a journeyman player. It made it way funnier to me. The fact that it was just some scrub who magically would hit a home run every time he came up to bat against the Pirates made it so much better. But here's my thing. These guys are pros, and we're talking about the World Series now, the elite pros. If you do it to another pro, celebrate, man. Do it, because you earned that. If you go out, if you're a fighter, for instance, and you go out on the street and knock out a drunk guy and then celebrate, it's like, okay, that's lame, dude.
If I hit a ball into the Allegheny River, I would say, and a pitcher told me, don't celebrate, don't stare at me, don't, whatever. I would say if you don't want to go get the ball out of the river, then
throw a better pitch.
Yeah. 100%.
Dude.
And we've heard that kind of stuff this year, because pitchers they're going to get mad when a guy stares them down when they put a ball into a river on the West Coast, on the East Coast, wherever it is. But you got to, right?
That's the gamesman. That's the psychological aspect of it. That's the whole point of making a scene about it, is to fluster the pitcher and then cause a mistake coming up. Get them off their game. People loved when Larry Bird talked trash. How legendary is his trash talk? That's like the basketball equivalent. Why is it not okay for a batter to stare it down because of an unwritten rule? Come on,
and we
man.
talk about it in football too. The trash talk is in everything: hockey, football, basketball, soccer. It doesn't matter what sport you're playing. But you look back at the Steelers win over the Dolphins, and the Dolphins go up 14-0. They're chirping Minka Fitzpatrick, and this is a guy that they spent a first-round pick on, and he's their teammate, he's their friend. They're chirping him the entire game until Minka did the rest of the talking.
But I will say that was kind of funny. Minka got that first pick, and they flew down to the end zone for a photo op. Still down. They were either down 11 or still 14 at that. I don't remember. But I was like, all right, you're down in the game. Maybe now's not the time to celebrate. But they did. Like I said, these guys, you're at the top of the game facing elite talents. When you do something good, it's pretty cool.
I was doing some reading on Reddit, and I like to play a little FIFA, but I don't get the time in that I'd like to, And one of the most triggering things for people playing FIFA is when they get scored on, and people they'll run around for a little bit, waiting to do their celebration, and then they press the button combo
that's
that
awesome.
they just start like dabbing on the screen, and then you know, like, you're just triggering the person. The only reason anybody does that is just to trigger.
Dude.
But you got to just accept it, because then when you come back and win and you get the dab on them, like,
it's going to
just
feel
do
good,
it, man. It always
be
feels
better.
good.
Just be better.
It feels good to dab. Be better. Celebrate.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
I see absolutely no issues with it, and I'm absolutely celebrating this beer, dude. That's delicious. That is awesome.
And of course, we're going to celebrate a few beers, because that's what we do when we go to Mike's Beer Bar. This next one up is Cinderland's IPA. It's big, it's sticky, and it's got pineapple and mango aromas.
Good adjectives.
A big sticky beer, man.
Sticky beer. I don't see what they're trying to draw an analogy to here, Maddie.
I feel like maybe Winnie the Pooh, which I've dressed up as a few times when
smells so good.
When I've gone on the Halloween hunt for some candy.
You've been Pooh a time or two?
Oh, I've been Pooh a time or two, but like
any other Pooh character, or are you just a Pooh purist?
My brother was a big Tigger guy. My brother was a big Tigger guy, but you know, I like
from him. He's a front runner, isn't he?
I kind of had like the Pooh shape, and I've been known to get stuck in a tree every now and then.
Your brother's a plus size model, though, so I mean,
he is, man. We got to get him on the show.
We got to
talk
get
about
him.
the plus size male model lifestyle. But I'm a two-paw Pooh.
That's full, man. Be careful. Dude, that's so tasty.
It is, man.
This whole hazy New England IPA, it's not even a craze anymore. It's been several years now, but man, I am here for that takeover.
You love it.
It's so good.
You love it. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on across the street. You weren't there, but Alex Stumpday on Kovacevic and I, we all sat in with Bob Nutting and Travis Williams, and I know that you read everything about it. You've been really involved in the Pirates coverage and process as a whole. I guess just what are your thoughts on, you know, kind of what we walked away from that meeting with? Because it sounds like people aren't willing to forgive and forget.
Right.
But it seems like a lot of the city's willing to say, hey, you actually went and cleaned house. Let's see what you can do.
Right. That's definitely how I feel about it, too, is that they're saying all the right things. And if actions speak louder than words, then they've also done all the right things so far. People coming back thought maybe Hurdle would be back, thought maybe Neil Huntington would be back. This is a big deal to get rid of these people. You know, this isn't just a small house cleaning. They've done the full suite that DK had talked about nonstop. Fire everyone. They actually did. So, like, that happened. So where do you go from here? I think even if the team kind of underachieves this year a little bit, people will be more okay with it. But they still got to invest in that roster, I feel like, is the next step. The next step to showing that we actually care is going out and signing somebody, spending the money to improve the team immediately.
Whenever we're out in coverage, one of my favorite things is when subscribers, you know, stop me running from place to place and want to talk. I got that experience after the Flyers Penguins game the other day, and a subscriber named Jeff and his dad Carl stopped me. I was headed back to the locker room. We ended up talking for 10 minutes. It was great.
Nice.
And one of the things we talked about, obviously, was the Pirates.
Sure.
And they went as far as to credit DK with some of the changes, because as soon as you start yelling at politicians, whether they can do anything or not, as we've talked about, and you bring in the public institution and the city institution stuff, you start thinking about, like, okay, maybe that did play a role. And then one of the other things that we talked about was whether they should kind of blow the team up or not.
Yeah.
I kind of lean towards, with a whole new regime, that they should build towards the 5 years from now, and not necessarily the tomorrow, the next year, the year after, because I don't know that you're still going to get the type of funds necessary from Bob Nutting to like go out and spend $50 million to support the Josh Bells and the Brian Reynolds and the pitching staff that they have. I think that we're probably going to end up seeing them, maybe not right away, but over the next year, during next season, they'll probably, not move Marte, is my guess, before the season, but he'll be a guy that they move during the season. You might see them move like a Josh Bell, and it would infuriate the fan base, but you have to, they're going to have to draft, they're going to have to develop, and they're going to have to fill the system with talent, and it's just not there quite yet.
Yeah, and I think you nailed a really vital point there. You don't want to send a new guy and a new system into a volatile situation like that. Like, you don't want to revamp the roster right now to where they don't know what they're working with. Like, establish some stability, work with that and build it up, and then make your changes and grow from there. Because there really is a base on that team. There's a foundation for really good baseball, actually. Pitching, the rotation, to me, is still the biggest question mark. And we know how pitching can dictate everything in the MLB. But there are pieces there for something at least decent, better than last year. We'll say that.
Hunter, what would you say that you drive on 79? You don't drive like 55, do you? Are you mindful of the speed limit?
50? Oh, dude, I know. I see it, and I love what you did there.
For those who don't know, we're about to drink a Mindful brewing beer, so.
We get little notes courtesy of the amazing bartender, Cassie, here. So we know ahead of time what we're going to drink. We don't like study it or anything, don't get me wrong, but we're at least aware of who brewed what.
Aware.
Yeah. And Maddie with the Segway King took full advantage of that fact. But no, who drives 55 on 79? That's a 70-mile-an-hour road.
I don't. Driving here, I was driving maybe like 5 miles an hour because something happened between me and in the Fort Pitt tunnels, as is always the case. But
sounds right, yeah.
I mean, I was like stuck. But when I'm driving 65 or 70 in the right lane, you're getting passed at 80.
Still getting passed, yeah.
So who gets pulled over driving 68 in a 55?
It's an oddly specific example there, Maddie. You know who does?
Who does?
Benny Snell gets pulled over doing 68 and 55 apparently in Ohio. It's in Ohio, which immediately is like, oh yeah, totally in Ohio.
But see, the problem with Ohio too is when you're driving on the highway in Ohio, you're like, you're getting passed by the double 18 wheels.
Yeah,
like they allow those giant trucks.
Know.
You're like, come on, man. Like, why do you need to have something that big on the road?
Like, we always get tickets going to the Cincinnati Reds game. Like, I know people coming back from Reds games got tickets because when I had to fill in and go to Cincy in May, DK texted me like 40 times, like, hey, by the way, watch your speed and use cruise control. Like, really be sure. And sure enough, I passed 8,000 cops. So Ohio just
and 8,000 hell is real signs.
Right. But Benny Snell getting pulled over for 68 and 55. Not a huge deal on the surface, however.
However, the marijuana cigarettes
had a couple. The devil's lettuce, Maddie.
The devil's lettuce, yeah.
I saw a commenter already say that the NFL should ban him for life. How do you feel about that? Over 2.74 grams of weed.
We're approaching like a really difficult era in this discussion because
absolutely,
as it approaches something that's going to be at this point a federally legally available substance.
There.
It's headed in that direction. In Pennsylvania now you have the medicinal use. In Ohio, I'm not sure what the laws are. Maybe he was coming back from Michigan. He had to make a run to a dispensary and he was driving back from Michigan.
I mean, you can run into Get Go and get CBD and hemp oil stuff now. I mean, it's just everywhere. It's becoming part of the culture.
It's changing. You look at a guy like Josh Gordon, right? And he's been him. You look at him. You look at maybe Ricky Williams as guys who have been most punished by, choosing to smoke marijuana. I mean, I'd rather see them doing that than getting addicted to opioids and being, on that path. I mean,
that's the thing, man. Like these guys, what they put their bodies through, I think, is really underrated by casual fans. They don't truly understand that they don't just show up on Sunday and play a football game, which that alone is a tremendous strain on their bodies, but everything in between as well.
Well, I looked at this and I look at Benny Snell not finishing the game against the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. And you start to think, like, what kind of leg pain was he in? Is it a recreational thing for him, or was it legitimately something that he tries to, help his body with? Because that's been the discussion.
Right.
Is a lot of these guys, when they get caught, it's like we've seen guys talk after retirement, like, I smoked weed every week or every day because that was the way that I got through feeling the way that my body felt. And I mean, it's obviously all going to change, and it's not going to be something that is tackled until the next CBA. But I think that we're going to see lesser, I guess, penalties for smoking marijuana or getting caught with it.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more with that. And to be fair here, Benny's thing happened back in August 30th, I think, was the official date that he got pulled over. But even then, you're an NFL player. Expecting these guys to just not smoke weed isn't realistic. That has nothing to do with being in the NFL. That's just being a human being this age, in this day and age. If you sample a random 53 people on the street, some of them smoke weed every day. Like, that's just the world we live in right now.
We've got one more beer, and I will say that Dan and I, when we were leaving the hockey game the other day, we smelled a few more marijuana cigarettes than Benny Snell had.
Oh yeah,
had on
is
him.
it Flyers fans trying to cope with?
It might have been the medicinal use after the 7-1 beatdown.
What do we got?
We've got a
geez,
dude. So this is like a combination of like stuff that you love and stuff that you don't typically like, and I feel like you've liked a couple of the pumpkin drinks you've had. This is a White Horse pumpkin coffee brown ale. Now, you love the coffee ales, and you love coffee porters and coffee drinks in general.
Yeah.
But the pumpkin, what do you think?
Dude, this is the territory. If this was a 12 or 16 ounce pour, this would be a struggle for me. I'm not gonna have a problem finishing 4 ounces of it, but it's sweet, man. That's really sweet.
It's sweet. It's smooth and it's sweet. It's like one of those beers that
super smooth.
Maybe you would have like instead of coffee. You know, just like
this tastes
kind of like a wake me up.
I don't know. Am I crazy? Does it taste like gingerbread? It reminds me of gingerbread for some reason.
Well, I always feel like any of the Halloween-y kind of drinks
Halloween-y.
fall, whatever, have a bit of that because of the nutmeg, the cinnamon, the allspice, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, that's there for sure. This is from White Horse Brewing too, which is what I was laughing about, the segue, like another drug, like the drug segue. It's turned into a drug segment somehow.
Somehow. What do you think about what do you think about Dominic Simone? Is he the drug that this city needs to get on?
Dude, your segues. I need to take notes when we do this. But Dominic Simone, I love the reaction to your piece first of all, because he finally has a game where the stats back up the play and people just lose their mind.
Well, the stats typically back it up, but the score sheet backed it up. Being
right. That's the point. Simone, I don't get. People have such a hard time understanding that you can be good at a sport without impacting the score sheet. I don't know why that's difficult, but I love Simone for that, and I think he plays perfectly on that first line.
Man, I feel like I started this bandwagon 2.5 years ago, and for a long time it was just me, and then it was me and DK, and then it was me and DK and Taylor when she joined the Penguins coverage.
Yeah.
And now I feel like there aren't even quite 800 people on it.
It still feels full though. But let's run it back. So what did you see from him right away? Because you really, to be fair, you were way on top of this.
Well, I feel like he and Sidney Crosby share the same brain. And that's people are going to argue that you could put anybody out there and play with Sidney Crosby and Jake Gensel and that they're going to perform. And that's true. We've seen it with all kinds of guys.
Sure.
But I feel like the connection that those two guys have is they feel and they feed off of each other. And I think one of the the best plays of the night, maybe the best play of the night, was when Dominic Simone passed to Crosby for Crosby's goal on the night.
That was so beautiful.
And it wasn't just the pass, because Crosby waited and picked his spot and he fired it and he scored. But, Simone's pass was great. And the play that they have, honestly, I think when he's not on the score sheets, when he's the prettiest, or when he connects with Crosby the best, because it's the interplay in their own zone. It's the interplay in the neutral zone. He reminds me of a holding midfielder in soccer that's just kind of moving around the field and trying to offer his assistance for everybody else, not necessarily trying to drive things himself.
Sure.
He's just a guy that I feel like if you appreciate that style of play, you're going to see it and you're going to understand it.
Yeah.
If you don't and you just want to see somebody score more than he does, I get it, but I think it's time to hop on the bandwagon.
I agree completely. So go buy your Dominic Simone jerseys, ladies and gentlemen, from Fanatics, actually.
from Fanatics, yeah. All right, everybody.
Wait, Crowler time. What's the
Crowler.
best beer? What's the best beer on your flight?
Man,
there,
I'm going with the Cinderlands.
Nice.
I like pineapple. I like mango, man.
Big and sticky is a dinosaur's best friend, I guess. I'm going with that Goza that we started with. That was weird. That was just so weird and interesting.
Man,
I'm down for that.
That punched my taste buds in the mouth.
It was a really interesting beer to kick off with, no doubt.
For the 500 of you that are Dominic Simone fans with me, and the 500 beers that are available at Mike's Beer Bar. Hunter Homicek, Maddie the Magic Dragon. Thanks for watching Sports on Tap. We'll drink with you next week.